Hello, my name is Siobhan Flavin, and I'm going to be covering anthrax, and I decided to call this From the Farm to the Post Office. We're going to go through the background, transmission, diagnosis, high-risk groups, prevention strategies, and case management. What is anthrax? Bacillus anthracis is the causative organism of anthrax. It's a gram-positive, rod-shaped, spore-forming bacillus commonly found in the soil of endemic areas. Endemic areas are agricultural regions of Central and South America, Sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Caribbean. It's an aerobic organism but can survive in an anaerobic environment because of sporulation, and it can survive for several years in soil, air, and water. The spores are highly resistant to temperature, pressure, pH, chemicals, and deficiency of nutrients. Animals get exposed to anthrax because it's mainly associated with herbivores and domestic animals like cattle, sheep, goat, antelopes, and deer. The animals become infected when they breathe in or ingest spores in contaminated soil, plants, or water. It happens in the aforementioned areas because widespread vaccination of animals is not practiced. So in areas where domestic animals have had anthrax in the past, routine vaccinations can help prevent these outbreaks. And the cases often occur after heavy rain following hot and dry weather. If you have an animal that has died suddenly and has blood coming from the nostrils, mouth, or elsewhere, you would call your vet or the nearest office of State Department of Primary Industries. It is important not to touch the carcass and to remove any stock from the paddock. The diagnosis is confirmed by laboratory examination of a blood sample that has been carefully collected from the dead animal. Symptoms of infected animals. The living animals may be slow and weak and disoriented and dead within hours to days. Dead animals bloat and decompose quickly, and they have this frothy discharge from many of the orifices. Early stages include a high body temperature, muscle tremors, breathing, and convulsions. Anthrax spreads to humans mostly because those that work or live into close proximity to infected livestock, or they handle infected animals or their products like their skin, meat, or hides. When the anthrax spores enter the body, they become activated, and the bacteria can then multiply and produce toxins. It can spread through cuts, open stores, contaminated materials like dust and grass, eating undercooked meat, but it's not contagious from person to person. Symptoms of infected humans are listed below. Cutaneous is the most common, inhalation is the most lethal, and there's also a gastrointestinal component, and here are some pictures to show that. Anthrax treatment and prevention in humans. Cutaneously, it usually stays localized as a pustule or a malignant carbuncle. You would then seek immediate medical attention if anthrax is suspected. Treatment with antibiotics is generally successful. However, due to the rarity, physicians may not make the link between malignant carbuncles and anthrax. Anthrax inhaled can result in very severe pneumonia, which can be fatal, and sites where animals have died should be thoroughly cleaned up and disinfected. Early diagnosis of the disease is necessary. Just with many other situations, early monitoring of the disease is also necessary. Early diagnosis can occur using the anthrax toxin in serum or plasma. That's the most reliable marker of infection. And these identification and diagnosis systems for anthrax have been emphasized and improved because of bioterroristic capabilities. To go into this, as we said before, it has a very long half-life of about 100 years, and due to the resistance, it has the potential to be used and has been used as a bioterror weapon. Inhalational anthrax is dangerous because initially it resembles the flu, making early diagnosis difficult, so by the time the disease is recognized, it tends to be too late, and it can be stored in the dry form that remains viable for decades. Furthermore, anthrax spores pose the biggest threat because it's easy to produce. So there's a component of ease of cultivation, dispersal, and dissemination. These spores have already been used in the U.S. and are very preferable agent to be used in the future by any militant or miscreant because it would likely be silent and untraceable. Therefore, it makes it the most lethal. And just to refresh your memory on something that did happen in the U.S. 7 days after the terroristic threats, 5 people died from inhaling anthrax, and it was all traced back to a single spore batch created by Dr. Bruce Ivins. He later committed suicide as the federal agents were closing in on him. As public health practitioners, it's imperative to be knowledgeable of diseases that are zoonotic, but agents that have the capacity to cause widespread casualty should be of the utmost importance. Thank you.